Okay. Let me see if I can get situated. I don't know if I'm going to have this exactly the way that I want it to be. That's okay. We're just going to get settled in, get warmed up, maybe get to know each other in this space. This is terrible. That's fine. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, welcome in. Typically, when I do readings and I'm in this space, I am not here. Typically, I'm over on Facebook. So this is going to be my first time live streaming through YouTube, trying to get myself situated in local land. Does that make sense? I'm going to shift a few things around for these first couple of minutes. I have no idea how the live streaming on YouTube works. So bear with me as I get comfortable. I don't think anybody's here yet. Somebody kind of popped on there for a second. Let me see if I can shift this a bit. We're going to go this direction. I am in the process of doing several new things. We're going to talk a bit about transformation, what transformation looks like. Oh, that feels better already. Okay. We don't see what's necessarily behind me. That's fine. Let's see. I have a lot of information I want to talk to you about, but I don't want to just start talking without talking. I have from, let's see, one of my coaches, one of my guides. I don't know if you can hear me either. I don't have my my microphone set up yet here. I have it somewhere else. I don't have it with me today. That's okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little off track. But despite how I feel, I'm going to do it anyway. When it comes down to transformation, right? And getting things started, doing things new, doing different things. Despite how I feel, I'm going to do it anyway. I've been putting this off for months and months and months, waiting for perfect timing or whatever that is. So bear with me here, okay? Should I orient you into what I've got here? Probably. I have Divine Abundance cards and my two newest decks, both Alice in Wonderland themes, since we're diving into this rabbit hole. We're talking about transformation and pulling up subconscious things, new things that are happening. Maybe we'll take a look back kind of at the different collages, ideas, concepts, kind of look at how things are going to be evaluated as we go forward. We'll figure that out. Let's see. I'll start out with our divine abundance because we're talking about acceptance. One of the terms you'll hear me talk about often is acceptance or radical acceptance. I found the term out of dialectic behavior therapy. Right? How do we talk about ourselves? What words are we using to talk about ourselves? Because our words program our brains, our neural pathways, right? So if we're talking about radical acceptance, now opening the flow, getting the flow started, beginning things. Clearing is there as well. So we're just going to accept, and energetic clearing is there too. In the transforming space, if we're going to start with a transformation or if we're going to have transformation happen, it's going to start by clearing and clarifying. Oftentimes when we're transforming, we're not going to know what that's going to look like until we can have an opportunity to take a look at ourselves. And sometimes we don't know what that looks like until we just jump in and start doing it. That's No, that's fine. I'll open up to you more along the way here and share more about my process and how I tap into things, things that are going on. I don't think a lot of that's relevant at this moment. There's a space of insecurity, perhaps. Um, Before I go into the Wonderland Tarot deck, I've got our Alice in Wonderland Oracle deck. We'll start with the Oracle, and then maybe we'll clarify a bit with our tarot cards. I feel we're going maybe a bit backwards or going inverted, taking a different perspective, taking a different point of view, getting things at a different point of view. We're not ready for that one yet. They're not ready for us until we give this space here some directive. That's fine. Okay, so the first one I pulled out of here, all must have prizes. All must have prizes. I like this deck a lot. I'm not super familiar, but this is trying to please everyone and people pleasing. How does that relate to your own transformation, Kelsey? People pleaser. Big time. Big time. And I really like making people happy. I like nurturing people. I like making people feel good. But there's a lot of wounding in that too, right? Or just how do we step into this energy of making people uncomfortable on purpose, but with purpose? That's fine. Keep it casual, Kelsey. I have one of those energies, or one of those. That's why I call myself a catalyst. If you, you start going through the ethers and finding information about me or whatever, my catalyst. I talk a lot about consciousness and energetics and creativity, and so in interacting with people and bringing my energy to the table, maybe to the couch. It influences things or catalyzes reactions and responses. I look for responses, responsibility, responsible people, people who can respond to the call, to the ideas. I get a lot of reactions, not purposefully, but when we come to, say, the table with a new idea or concept or something, or if we're trying to change something and transform something, there's going to be resistance to that. And so when we recognize that our ideas are different than, or we have concepts that are outside the norm, or these maybe even creative ideas that we've pulled into existence from nowhere, maybe. Well, there's not necessarily a nowhere, but we'll get to that down the road. We have what? A tangible way of relating with people. In our learning experiences, when we get these strong reactions out of people, we have that mirroring effect where we begin to learn a little bit about ourselves, right? And if people are responding to things in strong reactions and we're not ready for those strong reactions, we tend to quell ourselves in a bit as a means to please everything. All must have prizes. And even kind of collectively, we're getting to this point where the participation award, right? So our standards and everything is dropping through this. There's a bit of a sadness and a protection. But back to the card, right? I'll read to you the little tidbit here of information. At last, the dodo said, everybody has won and all must have prizes. But who is to give the prizes? Quite a chorus of voices asked. Why, she, of course, said the dodo, pointing to Alice with one finger, and the whole party at once crowded round her, calling out in a confused way, prizes, prizes! Everybody wants something. Everybody's looking for something, right? And then, so if we are creating this couch session container here on YouTube as an extension or as a pathway or a portal to the transformation guide, which is my incubator for my babies, right? This space where we can nurture transformations, whether business transformations, personal transformations, whatever. But those big, grand, conscious transformations, everybody wants something. Everybody wants a prize. So here you are. Here's your prize. You get a prize just for showing up. You're here. Here's your toolkit. The first tool in your toolkit is acceptance. Radically accepting that no matter how you feel, despite how you feel, when you show up and you show up anyway and do all of the things, trying to please everything, right? Things begin to get complicated, very quickly. I promise I'll work on getting my microphone attached here because I know this isn't very loud, but I'll try better. I'll do better. Practice, practice, practice. Welcome to my practice. I'm a PhD dropout. I had to drop out of a PhD in transformative studies a couple years ago. So I've been grappling with that because I'm supposed to be going through and doing my dissertation and working on all that stuff right now. And instead of, I guess, leaning into academia or taking the path of academia, I've had to go down this other rabbit hole and embrace that rabbit hole. And so as I've been exploring in this rabbit hole where I've gone, I can't say off track, but where I'm being guided to where I'm supposed to be going, right? Let's see. Use your time well. That card is here. Let's talk about that a little bit. Or do you want to know more about all must have prizes? I guess maybe we'll look at the first part of this, and then we'll talk about this, and then we'll come back to this, and then we'll keep jumping forward. I'll try to be mindful of my time. We're just going to run with it. And just be aware in these sort of spaces, I often have like my notebooks. I'll be taking notes, other things that I'm processing, working on, integrating. So fine. I will do that. I'll do that in this space, and you can just be part of that in this space, and it will be fine. And then we can create other containers for other things, and that is fine, right? We're talking about using your time well. So I have this time, I have this opportunity, I have these ideas, I have these concepts, right? We're just going to use our time well. Make every moment count. It's a feeling and an urge, right? Where you just kind of have to do the things despite how I feel. I'm going to do it anyway. Let's see. That was a 13 card. And so I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that because that puts us in a superstitious space. I don't know that that's exactly what we want to cultivate here. That's fine. We're just opening a container. We're going to open it. We're going to let it all flow out. We're just going to start. We're going to begin the habits. We're going to take the first steps. We're going to use our time well. We have the resources that we need. Everything is kind of there at your disposal. You just have to know what it is that you're looking at, what it is that you want. And again, we're creating kits, and we're looking for tools for our kits to transform for the sake of evolution, evolving as a species. I mean, it's going to happen whether we want it to or not. It just does. But if we can consciously access these changes and these shifts, or if we can be conscious participants in this transforming energy, what can happen or what can't happen? That takes us to the next part of impossible things, but we'll come back to possible things because we're talking about using your time well. And if you use your time well, you can do the impossible things, right? So I think you might do something better with the time, she said, than wasting it and asking riddles that have no answers, right? Radically accept that things happen for whatever reasons that they happen in. Bad things are going to happen. Good things are going to happen. They are what they are. And this is something that I've been thinking about quite a bit in terms of communicating different ideas in that transformation process. There's the story we tell ourselves or the story that we tell each other, right? So what came before versus where we're going or where things are going to be going. Asking riddles that seem to have no answer may seem like a waste of time, but sometimes it leads to discovery. We're talking about creative stuff too, creative behavior development. So if you're having a block or a difficulty in one area of your life, go work on something else. And there will be an idea or something that'll pop up in there that'll transfer over. We're starting to get into object transference, part of innovative and creative behavior development as well. Something I teach, how to be more creative. When we allow ourselves to ask questions that may have no discernible answer, we might find out valuable things and unearth what we truly think and believe. But there is another element to this card, as there are people who will waste your time, not only by asking questions that have no answers, but by deliberately asking those questions intending to take up your time. So people are in there, people transforming and people not wanting you to transform and to change. That's a thing. Like if we're energetic vessels, right, and people want to tap into that. That's interesting. People who feel justified questioning, prying, or wasting our time. It's up to you to decide what questions are worth answering. Boundaries are important, healthy boundaries, especially if we're trying to do the impossible, going into impossible things. Working through disbelief, imaginative leaps, and fresh perspectives, new ideas, new concepts, right? Okay, someone could be wasting your time by asking questions they have no interest in answering. People not listening or repeatedly asking for assistance but not heeding advice. Someone wishes to take up a great deal of your time in order to feel more important, listened to, and cared about. Set your boundaries. Use your time well. I'll come back to impossible things. Let's look at this side of it. Trying to keep everyone happy, treating everyone as equals, and rewarding those who have not worked hard. Playing nice, wanting to please, an inability to choose who or what is best for you. Trying to be fair but avoiding difficult decisions is not fair on yourself. Maintaining illusions to avoid disappointing others. Let's go to 34. Let's look at impossible things. A struggle to accept what seems unlikely, devote regular time to improving a situation, becoming better at something you care about, or changing something for the better. meditate on a miracle, and believe in impossible things. That's part of the acceptance part, right? That's the belief, and the ideas, and those concepts. There's no use trying, she said. One can't believe impossible things. I dare say you haven't had much practice, said the Queen. When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. The imagination, right? Things have to come from somewhere. These ideas have to come from somewhere. Is it best to reward everyone in the same way, even if some have offered more than others? Oh, pardon me. Mm, 1, 2, 3. Maybe we'll kind of start here. Find the lesson, discover the purpose in a situation, trust that you're learning for you and me. Let's see. I'm going to take these oracle cards. I don't know. Do you see what I'm doing down here? Maybe. Let's take these. Let's pull out our tarot and kind of dive into what some of this is. We're going to find the lessons. Energetic clearing, reframing. Okay. Give me a moment. I come to the space for reflection. Maybe it has to do with that, asking all the impossible questions, asking questions that don't necessarily have answers. Questions about lots of things. I've always had whys, wanting to understand, wanting to create, wanting to dive deep. I like people's problems. I like finding solutions to problems and puzzles, right? Queen of Flamingos. I'm not familiar with this deck, so you'll have to bear with me. But we're looking for new directions, right? And we're stepping into doing something new, out with the old, in with the new. So we've had to energetically clear things to find lessons, but we have to actually be looking. What an odd deck. So do you come in? Like 9 spades. No, Queen of Spades, Queen of Clubs. How odd. I'm curious to know what this one is. And if curiosity has taught me anything, it's that things don't necessarily have to have clear answers or be, let's see, fully what you would expect them to be. I would say in the last couple of years that I've been doing this through my other platform, one of the common themes that has popped up over and over and over and over and over is things not being what they seem to be, looking beyond the veil, but that has to do with being in this illusion or in this matrix, right? Or in this false sense of reality. It's going to be funny too. Let's look at I guess Queen of Flamingos, because I'm on that page. Sorrow, often widowhood, intelligence, with knowledge of the darker side of the world, one who has gone from happiness to failure. In that transformation, do you feel like you're losing something? Sometimes you have to hit the rock bottom, though, before you can go up. Sometimes you have to go all the way down, like lose everything. You can't learn something until you fail either. There's a really negative connotation around failing. But you lost something, but you have to like embrace these darker difficulties as truth. That's where that radical acceptance comes into play. Like horrible things happen all the time. What's the big deal? No, it's a big deal because it happens all the time, but how do we make it not happen, right? If we're looking for solutions and we want to do things differently and we want to do things new, we can't do things the way that we've been doing them. But there's going to be loss. Or maybe even like that whole phoenix concept where part of you has to die or something has to die off or something has to get rid of something, out with the old, in with the new before something new can come in. And that could be the hardest part. I think that's where the most grief happens in that transformation process, is in this initial phase. Maybe that's why this video is like this as it is, as an example for that difficulty in those limitations. But despite all those difficulties and the limitations and that sorrow and the pain and the darkness and all of that, there's still a lesson in there. There's a piece in there. There's a tidbit there for you. But you have to want to find it. You have to want to look for it. That's where the work comes in, right? If we're talking about the difficulties here. But I also get a sense, too, that a lot of people are in this space of, dare I say, like false positivity, or they just want to put the blinders on and not look at the things that make them uncomfortable, but we're going to get uncomfortable in this space. If you've made it in this, if you've made it, I guess, this far through this, into this tidbit, know that going to push you to discomfort on purpose, not to be mean, not to be cruel, not to be harsh, because you need a push, right? We need that nudge to get us to make that shift, to have a transformation. Maybe? I think so. Probably. Let's look at this other one here. What are we calling? She's flamingos. Oh, this is such a strange deck. But symbols are so important. Pepper mills. Clubs, or is that what we're calling pepper mills? I guess so. Patience pays, wait, good things will come, consolidate, concentrate, just be you. You'll hear me say that a lot too. That's not this card, but something for you. And your toolkit too! Is this one pepper mills? 9 of pepper mills? I'm just gonna double check to make sure I've got the right suit. Pretty sure. Okay. Waiting for a fight? A mental standoff, a deterrent to enemy attack, prepared for any difficulties, a pause in an ongoing battle, order and discipline. And like, just there's so much resistance. Like, you're putting up a fight in this transformation, aren't you? Sad, like sad and grieving and trying to hold on to some form of control. Release it. I don't want to say let it go. That one upsets me when I'm not feeling good. But we need a release. We need somewhere to put all of that energy, correct? Ace of pepper mills. These pepper grinders. It's the funniest thing to me. Pepper. What is pepper? Something to make you sneeze? An irritant? Something that gets things moving? What's grinding you? Like, is something irritating you? Yeah. You got like that itch to make it a change, or something's bothering you and you're not changing. There's a temperance card too for you. And a knight of hats. Okay. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do 2 more. How about more pepper mills? 8 of pepper mills. Look at all of these. These are intense. This is funny. What a funny deck. Let's pick one more for 7 and then we'll go through these. Finding the lesson. Okay. I was wondering if this would. Our 10 flamingos. Oh, here, I'll let you look at this. Can you? Ish? It's going to be difficult. You just have to accept that. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be like butterflies and rainbows and sunshine and any of that. It's just not. It's going to be okay. Let's go to this Ace of Pepper Mills and see what's like grinding on you. This guy. This is being handed an opportunity. I like that with these ace cards in these tarot decks, because you're being handed an opportunity to fine-tune something, to make something softer. Pepper's a great season as well. Seasoning, right? It has healing properties, warming properties, but there's heat to it. Heat and a spice. It's the beginning of all things, like the video. Such a stupid video, but that's okay. It's the beginning of all things. Life, love, family, business, the start of a new adventure, like growing pains. The start of something isn't comfortable. Think of being in a starting block. I've done a lot of athletics in my life. I was a runner for a while, sprinter. And I think of being in a starting block. And kind of the discomfort of it, being at that downward angle. But your hands are on the ground, and then you feel the grit of the track. And there's that, the anxiety, right? The excitement and the anxiety. And then when the gun goes off, boom, that like, that launch, the initial push out of discomfort, off the ground, off that track, where you have to take all that momentum and pull your body up and push everything forward. Right? meaningful experience, inheritance of fortune, but being gifted something, and it might not look like what you expect it to look like. I think that's this whole transformation guide thing is going to be. It's just going to be not what you expect it to be. I promise I'll get my microphone. We'll get the setup going. We'll get the environment, the container going. For me, for my sake, the temperance part, I got to ease into it. Make that transition and make it playful, make it mine, right? Despite how I feel, I'm going to do it anyway. Does that have to be perfect? No. Does that have to look a certain way? No. If you're going to take that step and that initiative, just do it and then see what happens. Temperance. That's a major arcana. I use a lot of archetypical type tools in terms of ways of relating. I like symbols a lot, symbolism. There's more, how should I say, information that can be conveyed, I believe, through these archetypes, pictures, stories, allegories, more so than in a literal direct sense. You'll piece it out. It'll resonate with something in your subconscious that'll bring up something for you. Your goal, your task, your duty, your responsibility is to temper yourself and find that balance, right? Despite all the chaos and all the things going on in the world, if we're going to radically accept, right, that this is the now and this is the flow and these are the energies, we're going to clear out all of this energetic stuff. We're going to do so because we're looking for a point of balance or temperance or just peace of mind. Point and purpose comes into play too. But warming heat, needing more heat, needing more warmth. But like internal heat, like the like chi, tea pills, like heat tea pills, like needing more how do I want to put it? Eastern medicine concept of heat. Like movement, momentum, this kind of heat too. And the friction, like that friction is necessary to create that heat, to generate that warmth, right? So that when you charge, right? And then put it out there, it's felt. Is heat. Okay, temperance. What does Alice in Wonderland have to say about temperance, right? Alice going down a rabbit hole, looking for the answers to the universe, to life, all meaning. Fishing for something. He's got something in his hand too. It reminds me of shark tooth, like this. That's what I think he's holding. And a fishing net. Maybe I'll look at the symbolism of shark tooth later. That might be a mental note to self. For sharks. They've been around for a long time, right? Well adapted, well evolved. Hiya, the messenger, takes a ham sandwich out of his bag. He wears the costume of an Anglo-Saxon page. He looks into the bag and sees nothing more than hay. He has 1 foot on land, 1 foot in the water, a unifying of the forces that work on the body and the mind. A long road winds through the background, the road he has traveled to arrive and must travel in order to leave. It's almost like one way in, one way out. And if there have been difficulties to get to where you are, if it's like the difficulties that have made up your life and that discord, you have to find the balance to find the peace with all those difficult things that you've gone through. It's possible. Absolutely, it is possible to make that transformation. It is not easy. But there's that, the peace, right? No, that's fine. Moderation, temperance, what comes with compromise and compatibility, a mixing of things in unanimity, and excessive tendencies. Oh, no excessive tendencies. Maintaining a good image, possibly being too temperate, the past, present, and the future. If there's any sort of like chaos, impotence, incompatibility, discord, union, disunion, intolerance, religious intolerance, any of that, look at that. I wonder if that's what some of this part is. If there's some of that discord that's in that aspect there. We'll look at these flamingos because there's being presented with these opportunities of grinding down and softening these very difficult experiences that we've had, right? To find that moderation. But there's there's too much noise. There's too much monkey chatter. Maybe it comes in clutter or things. Objects carry a frequency or an energy, or there's just too many people that you're around, too many big crowds, too many big groups, listening to too many people and their inputs. I keep having this I don't know if it's a revelation or just this strong message in my head that keeps saying, if you're going to share your story, you're going to talk to people about things and the difficult things, be prepared to share it with everybody in the whole world. If you don't want everybody in the whole world to know it, don't tell your best friend or your mom or your brother, or your sister, or your cousin, or your uncle's friends, whatever, or just some whatever. Don't do it. Unless you plan to share that information, that same tidbit with everybody, don't do it. Otherwise, seek professional help. Somebody who is under this oath of confidentiality, where that piece can be synthesized and that information can be worked through and that story could be understood in such a way where you can present it as your authentic self, right? Where you're not trying to give it to certain people. That came through in one of those other ones, right, too, right, in people pleasing. It's just being mindful of how much of yourself that you give to whomever or whatever. I don't know. There needs to be some sort of boundary or something there. What are you? Pain that feels like a violent death, mental death, ruination, mental anguish, guilt that cannot be reconciled, trouble and misfortune. Victory won at excessive cost, a moment of power, but there's just so much. I mean, you might lose things that you've been so attached to. You might people, places, things, all of that. But there's just discord. This is maybe a lot of people dying or having lost people to death. People who get to the point of taking their own lives and have that control and how that influences out, and that's done so because of the environment around them and the people around them not providing them or affording them the opportunities. And so things are internalized. They're not internalized, they're externalized, and we're not about to go the route of violence and destruction. I'm just not going to do it. Now, let's look at this guy here. Go back to our pepper grinders or pepper mills. I looked at 9. We have 8. Did I show you 9 yet? I didn't. This one. Waiting for a fight, a mental standoff, a deterrent or enemy attack, prepared for any difficulties, a pause in an ongoing battle, order and discipline. And what is this guy? Swift activity, a sudden progress of movement, hasty movements, advancement, too quick for easy assimilation. Okay, advancement's too quick for easy assimilation. That means if I come along and I see that you're bound and tied up in this aspect of conflict, and I come along and I go, boo, and I push you out of that conflict, and you have this advanced or accelerated shift happen or change happen, there might be difficulty in integrating that into your sense and awareness and your processes that might feel blunt. I don't want it to go to this point of blunt force trauma. I think that's old traumas surfacing to be worked through and to be dealt with, which can be difficult for some. So let's pull back maybe a little bit. Maybe there's something there in the reactivity aspect of it too. So one thing that I've noticed in this space, in being very direct and straightforward with people for the sake of transformation and creativity, let's say. How do we put this? Let's just not. Okay. High Priestess comes out. The King of Pepper Mills comes out as well. The World. Oh, strength is a unicorn. You know anything about me? I have a unicorn. I ride a unicorn. I'm a unicorn rider on top of everything else. I'm curious to know. Am I? Did we put her? Okay. The High Priestess, the World, and the Strength. If we're talking about consciousness and transformation, catalyzing changes and creativity, there's I keep having this thing like if this is me, then this is you. These are the people that have the difficulties within these transformations. Not everybody does. Most people will experience difficulty within transformation. Let's read what the High Priestess says here, because I am curious to know what Alice's the High Priestess looks like. Thanks for coming along this learning journey with me. I appreciate it. I think I'll just welcome you into this space because I'm here anyway. Alice sits on a stool that is her looking-glass throne. Okay. She has the crown and the scepter of the White Queen. So she's accomplished something, maybe has been initiated into something, went through the first rite of passage, and then now what? Her eyes are downcast from shyness as well as from exhaustion. Hard work and humility is going to be what it takes to make this happen. Otherwise, why bother? But not the type of hard work you think. Yes, I'm tired. I'm so tired. The last few years, especially to reach this point here today with this video, exhausting. This is years of work. It's not an impulsive, just show up and do it. This is, decades almost now of having a feeling of a sensation, a knowingness, and wanting to transform and overcome things, right? To be the best version of self, to be a better person, to find that luster and that love for life. Behind her is a sea of experience. On the entry are the letters B and J. It's true. I have nothing but bad jokes for that. Inappropriate jokes right now. B and J. What could that be? No story can be told unless it passes through the high priestess, for she has gathered the wisdom of the universe. Interesting, because storytelling has been on my mind a lot in the last couple of days. Talking about storytelling, sharing stories. I have an initiative that I run every April where I guess this month, this April, this process has been about the story. What is the story that I'm telling? What's the point? What's the lesson? What are we trying to learn here? What are we overcoming? Hang on, I lost her for a second. There she is. Wisdom and personal judgment, all that comes with maturity, intuition and common sense, the ability and willingness to learn. There's that find the lesson thing again. You have to want to learn. If you don't want to learn, it's not going to happen. If you don't want to make a change, if you want to stay how you are, if you think everything is hunky-dory and just fine and you don't need to make a difference and you got it all figured out, then fine. If you don't think you need to learn, if you think you know it all already, I can't help you. Nobody can help you. Only you can ever help you. But you have to want to learn how to help yourself. That teach a man to fish thing is coming to mind. But humans are fascinating. Like, if we're going to the neuroscience part of it, the brain, we have mirror neurons, right? What does that mean? They're like learning neurons where we observe. Our mind is observing and it's processing, it's making connections, and it sees, person, pond, stick pole, food, fishing. They can watch. You don't have to wait for a guy with some fishing pole to come over here and teach you how to fish. All you have to do is watch the fisherman fish and figure it out for yourself. Be willing to fail. Okay, so fine. Virtue and emotion. Virtue is important. Emotion is important. Emotion is energy. We'll get into that at some point or another. And I need my microphone. I'm working on. On the darker side, impatience and ability to share. A person who is occasionally overbearing but is nevertheless a good teacher. Should we look at the world and strength here? Do we need to go into these, or is that kind of obvious? Where are you finding your information from? Where are you learning from? I guess. Okay, we'll look at it. Alice stands in one of the squares that make up the looking glass world. Only a few steps remain in Alice's adventures, and then she becomes the White Queen. The symbolism is that of completion, of having the world put into proper order, of things going the way they should. So you take your steps, you take your time, you do the work, you do the labor, right? Closer than you probably think you are. Just keep going, right? And you get initiated into this, but you have to have these worldly experiences. It's not like you have to go out and like travel the whole world literally, but experience other worlds, other people's ideas, perspectives, ideologies, have the strength to overcome the difficulties, allow yourself to participate in different roles in different worlds. Like, what does that mean? What do I mean by that? I don't just call myself one thing. I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm a lover, I'm an artist, I'm a this, I'm a that, I do this, I do that, I run out. Like, I'm very imaginative. I'm a performance artist. I've done plays and I've done independent films. And when we can enter into these other worlds and we can step into these other spaces and we can, maybe it's play another character or take on another role. Yes, I can play this part. Yes, I can play that part. You can be very adaptable. Okay, there's a lot of strength in that. Is there anything out of the strength card here that we need to be aware of yet? The lion and the unicorn engaged in a mock combat. The lion wears glasses. The unicorn appears to be winning, but the animals are actually equally matched. They each do what must be done for the sake of their own prestige. Control of a situation, bravery, unwavering attention to a quest, elan, ability to overcome temptation, physical strength, mind over matter, matter over mind, Herculean effort for a personal end or the sake of the world at large. And there's the world again. Doing things and learning things and wanting to know things and wanting to become a better person for the sake of the collective. We're evolving as a species on this, how do I want to say, grand electromagnetic field of time, space, information where there's this exchange. Oh, where are you? This one, right? There's this exchange between worlds, whether it's Sheldrake's morphic resonance field and this tangible earth that we stand on. How do we bring in these connections? Especially in the realm of art and creativity. It doesn't have to be that you're an artist to bring in these things, but if you're not destroying, then you're creating. So what are you creating? After we've destroyed what no longer serves us in our highest good to make room for the things to come in, we're creating a new self, sense, energy, frequency, vibration, or rising to it, right? Evolving as a species to rise to that, to meet that connection by pulling these pieces together. It's funny to me that that's a sandwich in his hand, but I see it as a shark tooth. But why? But why? All right. We're approaching our hour. We'll start to wrap it up in the next few minutes here. We'll start shifting our gears because there's the Discord. I have a feeling there are going to be three types of people that come to this space, or that discover this space, or find this space, maybe this particular video. There are going to be these ones, ready for their transformations, right? I'm inverted, sorry. Dyspraxia. The ones that are ready. You'll get it. This will make sense. It'll resonate. You'll forgive me for the nuances of this video not being perfect. It's great. It's fine. There's something here for all of us. Oh, I gotta look at that Knight of Hats card too. This one, before we close it off. I'll get there. We'll get through these guys because these are the other types. I have these types that'll show up. The ones that think they know it all already, who are here for contempt, to look in and to be like, oh, what is this? Smirk, brush, tiffer. Find some something to criticize, maybe, or something to further deter. But the curiosity is there. There's just something to grind. These pepper mills are hilarious to me. I might have like this exact deck somewhere else in my collection, like wrapped up. I think it was gifted to me by somebody. And it's wasn't the right person at the right time to be sending the thing for me. I don't know. I won't use that one. But the last time I went in to get cards, these two called out to me, these two together. So like, we'll pull it in. There's something about Alice in Wonderland here in this couch space that I think is going to be important. So I think I'm going to be leaning on these heavily in this space for a while. And I haven't made up my mind yet about how frequently I want to be here yet. That's just a side note. Okay. I'll show you the reverse side of this maybe first. Well-intentioned but severe. Martinet, idealistic to the point of blindness. Overly religious and intolerant. We had be careful of the religious zealot information or something earlier there too. Prone to exaggeration. If for whatever reason you ever have questions or whatever for me, always reach out to me and find a way to communicate. Then I can convey that information back for whatever that's worth. Honest and true, unable to understand bad motives, fatherly and kind, yet sometimes quick to anger, educated and sympathetic, often a man with a close family. I do have a lot of men that follow me. The largest portion of my audience is men, by a little, like, quite a big percentage, which is fine. I love men. I like working with them a lot, and women too. Though I think maybe we'll look at that at some point or another too, through this, like transformation for men, transformation for women, and how those sort of things play out into these larger social perspectives. Because I think there's just I don't want to call it animosity, but as far as the three types of people, right? We've got these ones who are like, yeah, let's do the transformation work and dive in. And then there are these idealistic ones, some with very strong religious beliefs or backgrounds and upbringings, these strong concepts or conditions, values where there's, how do I say, just hesitation in absorbing this information and taking it in. Not that it can't be done. And then the other ones that show up here are these types, where there's just so much conflict. They're looking for a fight, looking for somewhere, somebody, or something to take that cognitive dissonance out on. And it's interesting because I've seen it in people's faces just walking down the street and how they interact with me, people that know me or know of me. I see it. I'm a very good people reader, and I feel like people forget. I won't say anything typically, but I feel it, and I know you can't hide from me. I'm not gonna test you on that. Don't take that as a challenge, because I'll sense that part of it too. And if I sense people challenging me or wanting to put up that wall, or if they have that resistance and they don't want to be read into, I don't go there. Respect boundaries, personal, whatever place and things. Some people just very explicitly put things out there, whether they're super conscious of it or not. It's more of like the ones who just, there's just too much. There's too many cooks in your pot. Maybe too many people trying to stir your pot. Everybody's got their own spoon. 9 of flamingos. Anxiety over a loved one, worry and concern, a quarrel or other major unhappiness, miscarriage, despair and suffering, sometimes death, desolation, suspicious of a close friend, imprisonment and intrigue, gossip, shame and timidity, a reasonable fear. Those who are afraid of me that watch, those who want to talk but come in and watch. You see. I won't speak about it in this one. I'll leave that piece for another time and day. We got one more card to look at as far as the spread goes. It's just funny to me. We'll work on the aesthetic of all this. We're just here, and I have the things. I have this like hankering to do readings. I miss doing readings for people. I don't get to connect with people in the ways that I used to. Been having to find new, innovative, creative ways of connecting with people in different ways, just because of whatever external constraints, pressures. I don't want to call them limitations, but maybe. Let's see what this Knight of Hats is. Man, I feel like a lot of people are like fighting me on this right now. I just want to fight me. Maybe not like. What is that? It's just the resistance, I guess. That's fine. I have to find my peace. I have to find my balance. I have to, I get to test this part of me. It gets to see how immovable and how unshakable I am. Right? Have we learned? Have we overcome? Knight of Hats. And hats are hearts. And it takes that, like, put your heart on the sleeve, or wearing your heart on the sleeve to a new level, like put your heart on your head. Think with your heart and the mind combination. The suit of hats corresponds to cups and hearts, messages, travel, home. The suit of gifts and contains all that is truly important. Oh, well, good, because at the beginning of this, in one of these, sorry, I'm laughing because I see follow your own good advice. Okay, fine. Sorry, I'm getting pulled. Knight of Hats. A message, arrival, moving up or forward, requests or challenges, attraction for a place or person, a gift, opportunity or invitation, a proposition. Oh yeah, gifts for everybody. That's what I was thinking of. Do I have it kind of handy? Are you near? Oh yeah, this one. All must have prizes. So this gets to be your gift. Gift of love. Knight of Hats. Are we missing anything else with this Knight of Hats? Take whatever you can from this. Take what you can from it. It's free. It's support, it's advice, it's guidance, it's synchronistic. It's human connection. Okay. Look at the side of it. No. I want to say be careful of false information, false news, frauds, people who are trying to deter you and take you off your track. This is a time and space with transformation where you have to listen to that higher calling in something much deeper and kind of, despite how I feel, I'm going to do it anyway. Of course, with the guidance of higher purpose and the good of all, for the good of all. Just be careful and be discerning. You have to know thyself. That's how you have to know who you are. You have to do the work. You have to try. You have to want to. You have to want to change. You have to want to learn. You have to want to learn something new about yourself and other people. That's another one too, because what you think you might know about somebody, false projections. People are probably telling you false things about things. If you aren't making this connection directly, and you're trying to fill in the blanks and all of that, or if you're trying to appease everybody just to get the prize, everybody wants to have the prize to feel like it. Things feel saturated and diluted. It's kind of like a thought that I was entertaining last night in watching parts of Coachella, thinking about musicians, thinking about the arts, the world I exist in. A lot of these things overlap in a lot of different ways. And there's just this saturation of this kind of energy, I think, where I want to put it is that, yeah, it's like the sheep saturated with sheep or sheeple, people doing things just to fit in or be cool or be part of the crowd. That's a big one. People doing things or creating things because they're cool or they get some sort of like monetary compensation for it or attention. Creating things purely out of sexuality or trying to get sex or sexual attention or sexual validation. It's just very everywhere you look, it's all the same. It looks a little different. It might be a different color, maybe short sleeve, maybe long sleeve, but it's like the same style. Let's look at this one. Follow your own advice. We're going to kind of backtrack it here. We came in through divine abundance into the oracle cards, in through the tarot. Now we're going to back our way out of tarot, back out in through the oracles, back out through divine abundance, and then we'll close off this space and come back to it soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe in a couple days, we'll figure out what this schedule is and how things are going to align. I'm just here, okay? I just showed up. Here, I showed up. I have this toolkit, I have this information, I have this stuff that I know, and I'd like to share it. So take from it what you will. Follow your own good advice, Kelsey. There's something in this for me, I'm sure. I'll come back through it later. Meditate on it. Reflect on it. Trust yourself. You know what is best for you. If you know yourself, if you've done the work, if you have explored yourself, through journaling, writing, therapies, meditations, explorations, journeys, trips, how do you want to call it? Traumas, shifts in consciousness, whatever it is. You have to know yourself. You have to want to know yourself, not who you think you are, not who you want to be, not who you think you want to be to others, not what other people are telling you who you are. Not that. It's not what I'm talking about. This is taking, I want to say, at least a couple of years. I want to say 5 to 10 years. I know, it's a long time. Really deep self-reflection and challenging yourself and tracking your growth and monitoring your progress and all of that. Get to know yourself. Read back, look back at pictures, understand, do the work. Come, there's no use in crying like that, said Alice to herself rather sharply. I advise you to leave off this minute. She generally gave herself very good advice, though she very seldom followed it. Okay. Get off now! Okay, we're done. Bye. There are times when we become overwhelmed and begin to feel as if there would be nothing better at all than to collapse, cry, and to turn in on ourselves, particularly if we have made an error of judgment. It's okay to fail. You have to forgive yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. Don't worry so much about pleasing other people. I want to say please yourself. But that comes with some radical discernment and responsibility, because you have to do so without harming others, or without the urge to want to cause harm to others, you know? This is understandable, and we must be permitted to express who we are and how we feel. However, once Alice has cried about a seemingly unsolvable situation, about forgetting something very important, she tells herself that continuing to cry will have no use. This stern command to her emotions brings her back to a place where she can contemplate what is to be best done next. That's the temperance part. Feel the feelings, feel them to their depth. Really know what those feelings are. And then when you felt those feelings, move on to the next step. Right? Stay grounded. Come back to feeling the world around you. Feeling your feelings is going internal. Attuning to that emotional feeling it, letting the body express that feeling. And when it's processed it out, or when it's done, or when it's resolved itself, or when it becomes too much, then you can come back out of yourself into the world around you. Feel soft things, right? Find that balance between the material world and the interior world, and then you have the self, and then it expresses itself. It shows up however it shows up. You accept it for who it is and what it is, right? Anytime you make an error, it can be helpful to grieve a little for the difficulty you've created. It's okay. Fine, feel it. But once you have done this, continuing with the sadness serves no real purpose. Sadness gets addicting. Depression gets addicting. There's neurochemicals, and there's pathways, there's patterns, there's chains of events, right? That all make that the easy go-to thing. And sometimes it's so easy to get sucked into those bad feelings because it feels good to feel bad. Ooh, responsibilities back to you again. It's best to follow Alice's example. Cry, then stop. And follow your own good advice and your own good sense. Receiving this card means you know what you need to do. You need to get clear, ground, and center yourself so you can contemplate what to do next. Energetic clearing. During crises, the Holy One herself may be emptying you of fear and attachments, preparing you to receive her luminous plan, emptying you, getting rid of the things that no longer serve you. There are two primary emotions. There's fear and there is love. All the other emotions you feel outside of those are all products of either fear or love. Right? These attachments that we have to things, to ideas, right? Those lead to suffering, right? Attachment leads to suffering. We take these things, ideas, people, whatever concepts, and we attach to them. They become part of us. And we suffer because we think we are those things and we're not. Detach. Detached compassion, another one of my favorite concepts. It's not so much about unconditional love. Detached compassion. You can have compassion for humanity. You can have compassion from the world, but detach yourself from having to feel everything to that point of like, oh God, we're never going to make it out of this. Feel the feeling. It's okay. Yes, it sucks. Okay, great. Cry. It's there. We cry for a reason. And then stop. Receiving this card means you know what you need to do. You need to clear, ground, and center yourself so you can contemplate what to do next. Consolidate, concentrate, just be you. Patience pays. Wait, consolidate, concentrate, contemplate. Think about it. Heart, feel it, and then think about it, right? Heart on the head. This card also says that you do know what is best for you and often give yourself excellent advice, but that you don't often follow it. Ooh, me especially. I'm like, I know all these things and I figure it out, and I'm like, no, I should probably go talk to somebody about it. Like, well, what do you think? Oh, I've been thinking about doing this. Well, what do you think? And they're just like, oh, Kelsey, you know what you should do. And it just steers the ship into this realm, and then it's just like, I already know what to do. Why? It's okay. Maybe there's testing ground in that. That's fine. Just do it. Despite how I feel, I'm going to do it anyway. We're almost done here. You're being gently advised to settle yourself emotionally. Friends told me. To think through a problem, to stop admonishing yourself, and to follow your good advice to yourself. Perhaps treating yourself like a close friend or a dear child will help you to move calmly forward without criticizing yourself too harshly for the situation you currently find yourself in. Circumstances are what they are. How do I relate that? Relay that. I love my life. I do. I love what I get to do. I love the freedoms that I have. I love the expression. I love being alive. I love the feelings of it. I love creating. Is it ideal? No. There are people that look at my life from the outside and they're like, oh God. You know, I'd say something to my mom recently. It's like, just because you don't like the way I live my life doesn't mean that I don't like the way that I live my life. Works for me. Might not work for you. That's fine. Whatever you do, it doesn't work for me. You can change this if you follow your own very good sense. You can make changes in your life. You can make transformations in your life. Yes, you can. If you want to change something, you can do it. We have to look at the circumstances and the environment that you're in, right, in order to figure out how to make those changes. But consciously, if you will yourself, if you believe it, if you believe in the impossible things, you can do it. If you learn the lessons, yes, you can make changes. Is the outcome going to be what you want it to be? Maybe not. But you have to be open to that. Let's see. This is where we have to be very gentle with ourselves. I mean, if it hasn't worked up to this point, fine. I mean, it's just whatever. If you've made mistakes and you're not perfect and you have flaws, it's okay. I make mistakes too. I know. Man, if you talk to certain people in my life, I'm sure they'll tell you all kinds of mistakes that I've made, right? I'm not my failures. I'm not my mistakes. I've learned through things. I've grown. I've matured. I've evolved. I've transformed. Then again and 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 again. Like constant transformation in my life. It's been such a huge theme in my life. I submitted to it. I went down that road and said, fine. If my life is about transformation and it's just meant to change and transform and just have all these transformations happening all the time, then fine. I can accept that. I can come to terms with that. That works for me. Let's figure out how to integrate that into our life, huh? Self. Okay, follow your own good advice, and I'm going to end this one on changed in the night. It's the last one that I see here. Clock time is here, time, pressure, and rush. Sounds all under here, and good timing. Time. Be mindful of your time. And we'll close this one off. I don't know if these are all going to be this long. Who knows? I can talk for a while. The last card was 10. This card is 11. Changed in the night. maybe this resonates. I feel this, even kind of going into this. And I love this card already, just for so many reasons. I love the crow. I love the flying fish. I love this whatever butterfly fish nonsense thing on here, the animals, the nature, all of it. Maybe this is some sort of confirmation for me too, because I feel different in this space. I don't know if it's because it's a different platform. Things felt very different in Coffee with Kelsey in the realm of Facebook, where we did tarot card readings. It's similar, but very, very different energy. Something shifted. Something happened, maybe within the last week or so. I think it was the eclipse. At least I don't know, just something in all of this, something in whatever divine timing or whatever is happening. I felt this, and sometimes it just happens. You can prepare yourself and prepare yourself and prepare yourself, and you never really know exactly when it's going to happen. And then you wake up and you're like, oh. Get that closer to you. Changed in the night. Dear, dear, how queer everything is today, and yesterday things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've been changed in the night. Hey, you do the work, and you do the work, and you do the work, and you're like, wow. And these new challenges present themselves, and you insert yourself into these situations, and you're like, wow, I'm doing this differently than I would have done before. I have new tools in my kit. I'm really excited about this space. That's good. That's good. That's good news. Okay. It makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. Even this feels ridiculous. That's fine. Sometimes we change slowly. A little change here, a small adjustment there, tiny shifts day by day, and over time we grow into a very different version of ourselves. But at other times we feel like we have been changed in the night. Our day might suddenly, without any warning at all, be very queer indeed. For Alice, and perhaps for you, when you receive this card, there is a sense that so very much has changed in an instant, that the world has quite suddenly been turned upside down, or right side up, and we have not had a moment to grow used to this new reality. The way we are now are, or the rules of the world we find ourselves inhabiting. When a time like this comes, we can be in shock, a little numb, and have trouble finding our way back to the center of ourselves. Please reach out to me if you need help. I'm available in just some form, shape, or another. You can connect with me. People do when it's meant to happen. Please, please, please don't ever feel alone. Like you can't get help. If you feel you may have been changed in the night, that your life has changed quite dramatically, quite suddenly, then take a moment. Remember your values, your feelings, yourself. Look about you, steady yourself, and breathe in deep. I should start these off with breathing in sync. That would be a good idea. You've been rocked, and your sense of self and or of reality is going to take a little time to resettle. Continue to connect with your core belief. Be good to you and take it easy, but steadily. Remember, you are finding out who you truly are. Acceptance and authenticity. Until this moment, you only knew who you could be when faced with certain predictable circumstances. Now that so much has changed, you will find out so much more about yourself, and in time, this will enrich you so very much. It takes time. Like I said, you'll learn more about yourself over time. You'll, as a conscious witness to self, right, detached from control, expectations, that sort of thing. You can witness yourself. You can take notes, mental notes, right? Minor adjustments, attune yourself. Mindfulness practice is really important. I know certain people don't like that word, mindfulness, but it's so important and so good. It's hard. You want to get pulled into the past, and then you want to get pushed into the future. getting far ahead of myself here. Let's wrap this up. Sudden unexpected change, a shock, unexpected news, adjusting to a new situation, finding out more about who you are, and experience an uncertainty, an identity crisis due to changed circumstances. That's why you're here. That's why you clicked on a video about transformation. Divination tools through transformation. We'll explore these topics more. We will in this space. I like it. I'm okay with this space here. I'm happy with this. We'll work on lighting. We'll work on sound. I'm gonna keep this one for me. I like this changed in the night card. It'll just happen. Or maybe it won't. Or maybe like some big shift happened. And you're like, ah, what do I do now? I'm like, hi. Freedom. Should we end on freedom? Worth. You have been worthy to belong to love all along without any need to improve. In fact, you are love itself. Worthy, right? It's not that you're imperfect that you need to transform. It's that change just inevitably happens and transformation is normal. It's a part of it. It's a part of life. It's a part of growth. Okay? No judgment. No judgment at my table. Okay? Non-duality. Let your authentic humanity shine forth while also bowing to the inner divine. You can become fluent at doing both. Non-duality. We'll explore that too because we have a feeling there's a lot of like dualism energy. Maybe you're feeling kind of collectively there's a lot of duality, this or that. So very okay, that's fine. We'll let it go. We'll do the right action. Focus on right now. Stay in the present and don't get too far ahead of the flow. I'll do my best not to get too far ahead. I do have a tendency to get a little further ahead of where my students are, so it's part of why I use divination tools just as a way of anchoring myself so I don't get too caught off guard by going off on too many tangents and getting way too far ahead, especially conceptually. I've been working on slowing things down a bit, or grounding things into something that's more practical, so it's easier for you to maybe grab hold of, to get a grasp of, because the further we dive into this work, the more I'm gonna pull your ideas, consciousness on a way far out there. But before I can do that, freedom. I'm gonna end this on freedom. If I were to have a spirit animal that were to describe my personality and my working style, it would be that of a hummingbird. Freedom. I am a lot of energy in a very tiny package and can move and transcend in a lot of different directions. There's a lot of quickness, even in the stillness, right? I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good. Release me from its bonds. I'm free, I'm free, I'm free. I'm free. It resonates in a lot of ways. In my art life realm, free K.Sweet is where you can find a lot of things. K.Sweet is my name. I sign my things with a K. Free K, like a freak. Freedom as well. In knowing thyself, maybe a starting point for you. If you're curious, if you haven't gone down that road, or maybe if you have, go to your natal chart, right? Look at your astrology, the astrological influences that play into your personality. I see it more as personality profiling than anything. That's just my own personal opinion. But there's a lot of interesting information, right? And if I look at my natal chart's very similar to my father's. I was kind of surprised. I mean, even down to the moon placement, Pisces moon. And he let me fairly recently start analyzing or reading into his chart. And I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense of the way my father lives the life that he does, or the way he lives his life. And there's so much in his chart that's about freedom and being free and living free. And so I've given myself this permission of, okay, it's in my blood. I'm Bohemian and Blackfoot on that side, I'm told. And so there's this inherent need to be free, connected in nature, not tied down to things. But free in my mind, free consciously, right? Free of the resentments, I think, is a good thing. That pain, that suffering. All of it. Anything else? I don't think so. Thank you for joining me in this space today. I think I'm going to keep these 3 decks together, and we'll work with these 3 decks in our next few couch sessions here. Yes, couch sessions, where your therapist is on the couch, analyzing yourself. I watched some movie about Freud and C.S. Lewis or something last night. I can't think of the name of it. But it put me into this deep philosophical, contemplative energy that I just miss. I miss connecting people. I miss connecting people. I miss connecting with people too, but I miss connecting people. I'm a networker of sorts, or just bringing things together. So thank you for that. I'm trying to look around me and see if there's anything else that I need. This does have a little booklet with it, and there's more that I want to read to you, but I should close this out because we're at about an hour and 45 minutes. And I'm trying to do my best to consolidate things, to make things more concise and smaller bits and parts and pieces. I will leave this video up for kind of as long as I can. Maybe it'll be an introductory thing, something kind of casual as we go in. If you look around this channel, you can find other tarot readings that I've done over the last couple of years, just kind of playing around. There are parts and pieces from a radio show that I've done called Cultivating Consciousness. But bear with me. I'm still pulling all these different parts and pieces together, getting myself organized and presentable, all that fun stuff. But there's no better time to start than now, and I might as well just get going, doing the things that I want to be doing. I like this deck because there's a hummingbird on the inside. It just probably bird away. I love this so much. Allow me, divine, to always accept the right assistance. I welcome your help in every way and delight in receiving it. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll go back through this. I'll edit it. I'll figure out where my kinks and stuff are here, and we'll work on fine-tuning everything. We'll work on our presentation. But again, we'll just keep it casual in this space and stay tuned. just keep conversation flowing. Again, thank you very much. Have a good day, good night, good evening. Talk to you soon.